Hey, it's Kim McKay, and I gotta say, that last episode of Game of Thrones almost brought me to tears. Hold the door! That episode just showed us how brilliant of a writer George R. Martin is. He would have been calling him Hodor and making it say that throughout the whole series leading to that one point all the way in his 6th book. Absolutely incredible foreshadowing. But that's enough about the episode, let's get into this preview breakdown.
I'm so sorry.
So here we can see that Mira is still getting chased by the Whites, and they're catching up to her real quick because they don't really get tired. There's tons of them. They keep following her all the way to the end of the earth. So she's probably going to get surrounded and be out of luck, and this is where we get this dialogue from. And he's going to be holding over Bran's body, desperately trying to survive. And then in comes this character, which we've seen in the trailers many times, to save the day. It's either going to be like Benjen Stark or Coldhands like character. One of the two ones. Both will be really awesome character introduced to it. And it will show that some of the characters that we are on the side of us, you could say, the Bran side, are still alive. Many people are wondering what Bran has left to support him, because now that all the children are dead and Bloodreaven, there's no one really backing him, no one to teach him where he needs to go from this point on. It'll be all just him doing himself. But I feel like this character that they bring in now will be the person that helps guide him that last issue away. From what we saw last episode with the whole time looping and stuff, and how the events that are playing out right now have been, being set up throughout history by characters like Bloodreaven and Bran himself for so long, that these events are super important and stuff. So there must be more people than just Bloodreaven and the children who have to be supporting him. So I don't know who exactly it would be apart from this guy, but it'll be really interesting to see if we get to find that out next episode.
Didn't think I'd ever come back here.
You didn't tell them I'm a wildling.
So it seems that Sam and Gilly are going to finally have some interesting scenes where we're going to see Randyll Tarly and the rest of the family, and hopefully get some real direction in the storyline. It's going to be a really interesting dynamic between him and his father. His father is going to be very unimpressed, like we see here, with Sam. Plus, they also thought he went to the Night's Watch, and so if he's claiming the child as his bastard, he's kind of broken his vows and brought dishonor to the family and stuff, so it's going to be really interesting to see what happens here. Also, some other YouTubers have been talking about how possibly Sam could take their Valyrian sword to the wall to help fight off the White Walkers. I'm almost certain he would not willingly part with his Valyrian sword to his disgrace of his son. Not only did Sam break his vows at the Watch according to what he knows, also he's becoming a maester, which is the thing he forbid him to do, and he returned home, which is the other thing he forbidden to do. That is 3 things he probably really doesn't like Sam for, and now he's returning to shove it on his face. He's like, what are you doing here, mate? Also, Gilly being a wildling is going to be another tension point between them, so this is going to be one hot mess of a situation. Personally, I hope that Sam doesn't spend too much time with his family and stuff, and I want him to be able to go to the Citadel and start learning to be a maester so he can start getting that knowledge under his belt. And there's some really interesting characters at the Citadel that we get to meet in the books that we haven't seen in the show yet, so it'll be interesting to see if they put those in or not.
She disgraced her house, the king.
He's torn our family apart.
We should treat them without mercy, and we will. Show them what we do to our enemies.
Now in the scene, we get the High Sparrow saying that Marjorie has disgraced her house and her king. He's doing this to a huge crowd of peasants who are starving, angry, more agitated, and really, backing in religion and stuff like that because of all the huge war and shit the nobles have put them through these days. Now, I see these Tyrell soldiers walk in, they're being all aggressive and stuff, and I'm thinking, there is not enough Tyrell soldiers there. This is not going to end well, because you look at that huge, massive crowd, and this thin row of Tyrell soldiers. They're going to get absolutely wasted if they try to fight them. It's not the sparrows that they're worried about. They can outnumber the sparrows really easily and destroy them. But the huge crowd of peasants, we see what them rioting does back in season 1 or 2. And it was just really clear that was a terrible thing. But now we can see that this season they can be way worse. They're more angry, more willing to rebel, and there's just less of them there. So they're going to get absolutely fucked. This could be the High Sparrow's plan all along. Tell Tommen about Marjorie's Book of Atonement, do this whole display, knowing that he would tell Cersei and who would tell the Tyrells would bring their army in, and then he would do this whole display on the Sept, and then they would try to be aggressive and get back Marjorie, triggering the crowd to fight them, and then he'd get the whole support of them, be able to fight out all these Tyrell soldiers, and gain a more secure control of the city. He's using Cersei's ever-growing insanity and the ever-growing anger and mistrust between the Tyrells and Lannisters to destroy themselves and get the people to rebel against them. He is the very definition of fanatic. He wants a holy war between the nobles and the people. Personally, I believe he doesn't have the interests of the people at heart, because a war between the nobles and the people would mean a lot more people dying than the nobles, but he's willing to do that to gain his own power, because he's playing the Game of Thrones.
You're a conqueror, Daenerys Stormborn.
I take what is mine.
Okay, this scene is just clear foreshadowing for the Greyjoy interaction with her coming up. I take what is mine. That is an Ironborn saying and that kind of thinking, so it's showing that she might not be that far off actually joining and being very similar to the Ironborn and would do alliance with them. Whether it's just the show being cheeky with us, kind of putting it in there to throw us off, or just a little bit of Easter egging, or if they're actually foreshadowing them working well together like we have in the books, with Yara probably taking the fleet off by herself at the end of this episode to try to get to Daenerys first and meet up with her and then make an alliance with her before Euron can. It would mean that Daenerys gets all these ships to be able to transport her giant Dothraki army to where she wants them to go, plus helps her out in Marine and the Slaver's Bay and stuff. Also, there's get some kind of girl power themed shit that the show likes to do these days. It's just going to be showing more and more powerful women in Game of Thrones, and Yara's going to be one of those, and she's going to meet up with Daenerys, and they're going to work together to conquer the world. Sorry I couldn't go more into this kind of breakdown, but I've been really sick lately, and just kind of dying in the inside. I haven't eaten for the last 14 hours, so I'm sorry if I'm a bit tired and just not exactly on point today, but I hope you still enjoyed it or found something interesting. Oh yeah, you should check out my sponsor of today's video. It's audibletrial.com/king. You get a free audiobook of your choice. You can get the Game of Thrones audiobook when audiobook you want. So if you ever thought about reading the series but you didn't want to do it because they're giant tomes and they're really hard to read, or you just want to kind of a lean back, close your eyes, kind of absorb the information kind of thing, well, audiobooks are a really good way to do it. Also, if you want to reread them without going through the hassle of getting them out again, like I did when I was getting these audiobooks, it's a really interesting, good way to do that. So go to audibletrial.com/king and get a free audiobook of your choice. Link in the description. Also, did I ask if you wanted to subscribe or not? Because you should do that as well.